Jerusalem as an ancient city, every nook and cranny is layered with thousands of years of Jewish history. Yet this once glorious metropolis, where King David and King Solomon reigned and the Holy Temple stood in all its glory, is now the scene of much tragedy, as thousands of survivors live on the brink of starvation. Coming to their rescue is Colel Chabad. Since 1788, this noble organization has prevented starvation in Jerusalem by distributing food to the holy city's poorest. Every day, hundreds of helpless old men and women line up patiently to receive food rations that will enable them to survive for yet another week in their new but ancient homeland.
Yud Tes Kislev, the 19th day of the Hebrew month of Kislev, marks the new year for Hasidism. It was on that day that Rabbi Shneur Zalman, the founder of Chabad Lubavitch Hasidism, known as the Alter Rebbe, was released from imprisonment in Tsarist Russia in the year 1798. The Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, would hold a Farbrengen, public address and Hasidic gathering, usually lasting 5 or 6 hours into the early morning. In fact, the Rebbe is a descendant of Rabbi Shneur Zalman and gets his name Schneerson from Schneer. Shnei Or means two lights. His parents, by divine inspiration, named him for the two parts of the Torah that he would illuminate, by updating the code of Jewish law and introducing Chabad philosophy in his classical work, the Tanya. In the early days of Hasidism, the scholarly elite of Lithuania and Belarus saw the movement and the Alter Rebbe as fomenting revolution within Jewish society by empowering the lower uneducated classes to view themselves as having equal access to God. They presented the menace of Rabbi Shneur Zalman to the Tsarist police by painting him as a political revolutionary. On the backdrop of France's bloody revolution, the Tsar feared any change in his kingdom and lodged a complaint against the Alter Rebbe. One of the 22 charges the government brought against him was that he was trying to overthrow the Tsar by supporting the Sultan of Turkey. Years earlier, the Alter Rebbe had founded Colel Chabad in Israel, and it became the obligation of every Chassid to support the Jews of the Holy Land, which was under Turkish rule at that time. The Rebbe was arrested and taken to the Peter Paul Fortress in St. Petersburg.
From the first Aliyah to the Holy Land in the 18th century, the leader of Chabad Lubavitch, known as the Alter Rebbe, established Colel Chabad to encourage and support these early pioneers. The Alter Rebbe took personal responsibility for their survival and well-being. Ever since, it's been the responsibility of each Jew to support their brethren in Israel. Indeed, Colel Chabad is the oldest continually operating Jewish charity in the Holy Land. For over 200 years, each succeeding Rebbe of Chabad Lubavitch has personally headed and has taken personal responsibility for Colel Chabad. In our times, it's been the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mem Schneerson. Throughout generations of oppression and pogroms, Colel Chabad has provided moral and material support to beleaguered Jews in Israel and their community institutions. This continues unabated until this very day. Indeed, it has only intensified.
Das, was bleibt täglich in die Gäste im Adiula. A das, wie hieß schon der Lono. Und das, was getan bei Erika Kritik. Und das, Berlin und Tübel Chabad gefragt. Schreibt der alte Rebbe, a das, wie der Schuss was Wunder. Und im München, da wie ich bekam mit Lono, richtig gewesen zu der Adiula Demos und zur Kolke, wie die Jungen zum Jachese und der Däne zum Jachese.
Did you know that 1/3 of Israeli citizens are poor? That lots of kids go to school hungry every single day? That there are Holocaust survivors and elderly Russian immigrants with empty refrigerators? Widows who don't earn enough to feed their kids? And scores of elderly that need a fresh meal delivered to their homes? But how do you know who's hungry? Who knows if every needy person in every town and village is cared for? And how do we know who needs a hot meal, a pantry full of ingredients, or a voucher to the local supermarket? For the first time, the Israeli government decided that enough is enough and launched Israel's National Food Security Program so that no one should ever go hungry and no one should fall through the cracks. And who did they trust to run this National Food Security Program? A 225-year-old organization called Colel Chabad. Because Colel Chabad has what it takes to do the job right. Colel Chabad had the national reach, the integrity, and the experience to get to the bottom of everything, like who is in need and who just needs a temporary boost, which people can't cook for themselves, and which need their pantry stocked. After all, with 20 soup kitchens across the country and thousands of families receiving its monthly food deliveries and tens of thousands shopping at its non-profit supermarkets, Colel Chabad knows exactly who's who and what's what. Which is why Colel Chabad now has its social workers sitting in the municipality, looking out for the neediest people, the poorest families, the hungriest children, and making sure they get what they really need, not what they don't. With all the data and information centralized in a single location for the first time, we can get a complete and accurate picture of the situation all across Israel. Additionally, we give families the tools to stop the cycle of poverty. This program is not only about feeding another 100, 1,000, or 10,000 hungry people. This is about setting a structure, doing the groundwork, laying the tracks to reach every single needy person in Israel. If you want to fight hunger in Israel, you've come to the right address. Colel Chabad. Now that's tzedakah. Tzedakah, pure and simple.
200 years ago, the founder of the Chabad movement passed away. Shneur Zalman founded a movement that has been a central part of our people's experience in the 2 centuries that followed. Chabad was a reassertion of faith and of hope. It came at the time when the Jewish people were in contraction. The belief in our ancient heritage was under attack. The belief that we would resurrect our national life in our ancient homeland was frittering away. There was need for a reassertion of principle and hope, and I think this is what Chabad gave, also uniting Jewish people, helping the downtrodden. It all came together in this movement that has since produced great rabbis, one of which I came to be intimately familiar with and gave me great inspiration throughout my adult life. I believe that this inspiration is what fires you. I know the great work that you are doing around the world to bring Klal Yisrael together, to bring the Ahavat Yisrael, Ahavat Am Yisrael, Ahavat Eretz Yisrael to the forefront and to the hearts of so many Jews around the world, whether they're religious or not. I think you touch their hearts and you bring them to this original flame that was lit by the founder of Chabad. I want to thank you for what you're doing. I think it's important for the Jewish future. And I congratulate you on everything that you have done and everything that you will continue to do. Be'ezrat Hashem. Toda Rabba. Thank you.